So today I'm going to show you how I punch down Keystone Jacks. Now the title of this video is not going to be a how-to, but rather how I punch down Keystone Jacks, because while there are some rights and some wrongs when it comes to doing this, this is kind of a bit of an art form too. So kind of a practice makes perfect kind of thing, which you can only learn by doing. So that's why this is just going to be how I do it. So the tools we're going to be using today are my punch down tool, my flush cut pliers, my tool to score the jacket of the Cat6, and a little pocket screwdriver flathead. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Now I'm going to be using commercial electric ones from Home Depot. I call these a top loader design, whereas the cable is going to come straight into the Keystone, whereas this one it's like a side loading. It comes in from the side like this. So I don't particularly like those. I suppose you could do it like this, kind of funky, because when you go to snap it into the wall plate, that doesn't particularly work very well. So as far as I know, and as far as I've seen them terminated, as well as the way I've terminated them, it's been from the side. The problem is that you're not supposed to have more than ½ inch of untwist. Let me just zoom in real quick right here. So you have to have untwisted wires. You have to have twisted wires inside this channel, which is very challenging and a lot more work than I think is necessary. So I really don't like these at all. I bought these because they were black and I needed to get black ones. So this is the only ones that were available. So I don't typically use these. I typically use these kind, whether they're from Home Depot or Panduit or whatever company makes them. I like these. Okay, so let's get into the process here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this stuff out of the way, strip the jacket. Now I've covered this in another video for my RJ45 termination. Basically this tool will not used properly, will not nick the wires inside the conductors. So one time around, now I've preset the tool to make the score on the jacket. And what I typically do is I'll practice a couple times on a scrap piece, or if I have a lot of extra wire here where the termination is going to be, I will do a couple practice tries and get that score perfect. So when I do my real score, it will not penetrate the jacket or nick the conductors inside. So I ran that around one time. Now let's see, actually let me zoom in real quick here. Now you can see, right, as I go along here, I can bend this and it is not penetrated through the jacket. Now I'm gonna bend it. Okay, there you go, you see that? So you can see that I did not penetrate the jacket on that score. There was just a very light score, and I bent the jacket a little bit to pull back the jacket. Okay, so let's pull the jacket off and zoom back out. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the rip cord. That's what the correct name of this is, that you would use to, if you wanted to use this to rip down the jacket to strip it, but we're not gonna do that today. Just gonna cut that, set that off to the side. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and pull my pairs down one by one here and get them far away as possible, so I can cut the separator, which is what it's called. Okay, it's not spline, whatever other terminology has been used. It is called a separator. Okay, so I'm going to try to zoom in here. I'm trying to do this with the camera right in front of my field of view. So I'm going to come in at an angle like this. Okay, like that a little bit, so I can get that separator out as much as the way as possible. So what I'll do is I'll cut all 4 sections of the separator. Okay. Sometimes you can only get away with doing 3. Okay, so I've cut each fin of the separator. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to twist it off like that, okay? So that way I get as much as that separator down into the pairs as much as possible to get that out of the way so I can work, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my jack and I'm going to read the, let me try to zoom in again here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to, I usually work like this. with the blue in the left-hand corner. So I'm going to be doing B today. Okay, so I'm going to separate the pairs accordingly. Okay, so blue and orange are on top. Okay, so I'm going to go blue. Probably need to zoom back out for this. Oops. So blue and orange, and then brown and green are at the bottom. So brown, green. Okay, so I know that that top row is going to be blue, orange, and the bottom row is brown, green. So I have that laid out accordingly, kind of like a star pattern here. See that? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start untwisting these to, I don't need to untwist the whole thing. And I should say that I cut so much, I cut these really far back, so that gives me something to work with here, so I can hang on to these and press these into the IDC. But you'll see that in a minute, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to untwist these, okay, enough so that I can get a screwdriver in there, right? Oh boy, see if I can do this with my left hand here. Now I just want to make sure that I am not, the screwdriver is not going to scratch the jacket at all. Gotta be careful of that. I'm just going to get in here between the gap, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull that out a little bit like that. Okay, right? And I know that blue has to be on the left, solid blue. Okay, and then it's going to, on top it's going to be orange stripe, orange. So I'm going to untwist these enough so I can stick my screwdriver in there. Okay, and then I can just pull it back a little bit. All right. On the bottom it's going to be a brown stripe, brown. So I'm going to go ahead and untwist that. Let me just go back the other direction a little bit. Sorry. Trying to do this with my left hand here is not easy. Okay. And then on the bottom one, on the green, it's going to be a solid green, then a green stripe. So green, green stripe. Okay, now this time I should be able to use my right hand this time. Okay. I'm going to kind of pull that back a little bit. And now what we end with is, I kind of messed up the brown side, but you can see it looks like a butterfly, right? Kind of looks like a little butterfly, like, hey, butterfly, fly away, little butterfly. Okay. I was just trying to make a joke there, but it does kind of resemble a butterfly. See that? Okay. So I'm just going to check this again, right? I've got blue stripe, orange, brown stripe, brown, and green stripe. Okay. So what I want is I want this Cat6 right in the middle of that. Okay. So let me zoom in and hopefully be able to show you this while I'm trying to reach around the camera here and not bump the camera. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this right down in the middle. Okay. Try to get that so you can see it. Okay. See, maybe that's a better view of me doing it. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get while trying to look at the camera at the same time. Okay, so now you can see I've kind of got those lined up, right, in the correct position. I've got my Cat6 in the center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put my fingers on these, right, like this, and then I'm going to just kind of push down like that until it's in the center. Okay, so I didn't have to untwist all the pairs. I just had to untwist them enough to make that little butterfly pattern. You see that? And more or less the cable's in the middle so that we have the least amount of untwist. I'm just going to check at the color code again with this one, right? So we're looking at, so at the bottom we're looking at brown stripe brown, and then green stripe, right? At the top, same thing, blue stripe, and orange stripe orange. Okay, so we got our wires in the correct designation. Now what I'm going to do is, because it's difficult to show the punch down on the camera, what I'm going to do is Make sure you have your blade on the outside and not the inside, because otherwise you'll cut the conductor on the inside. You don't want that. So okay, so what I'm gonna do is as I punch down, before I punch down, I'm gonna go through all of them, and I'm just kind of rock this back and forth a little bit to get that wire set into the IDC, right? To make sure I don't want to just slam it in there and go punch down. Like I want to work that thing down in there so it gets deep down in there, and then I'm gonna do my final punch down. Okay, so it's a little bit of a rocking to get that wire in. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me zoom back out here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna start here. Okay. Now you want to make sure you do this on a solid surface. Don't do anything on that's not firm. That will cause your kind of rebound or it'll bounce out. Or you really want to do this on a solid surface. Make sure if you're doing this on a construction site or in an office or something, to put something underneath this to protect the surface, because this can put a little dent in the surface. In this case, I'm not worried about my table, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the punch down. Okay, so I'm gonna rock each one of them. Get that set nicely into the IDC without triggering the punch down tool to cut the wire yet. I don't want that yet. Make sure my blade's on the outside. Do that nice little rock. Get it seated nice and good here. Okay, so then I got them all ready to be punched down. So now, when I do this, I kind of want to, let me see if I can zoom in here real quick. Now, when I do this, I kind of want to get that blade angled a little bit inward. I know, I'm sorry, it's really tough to see, but I kind of want to get that blade angled a little inward so that it's going to trim the wire good and not have to come back and repunch it. All right. Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Again, sorry, it's hard to see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I don't have the tool set on maximum because I could actually potentially break the keystone. But let's go ahead and take a look at this now. You can see that they're all nice and seated properly right there, and we're right in the bang in the middle with the wire. See that? So we have the least amount of untwist, and the wire is centered within the keystone. And then basically we would just snap in our cover, which I don't have, but there's a little cover that just snaps in there and that makes sure it holds everything in place. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Came out nice, and that's how I like to do these. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll just show you that cover. I should have shown that in the video real quick, but here's the cover that goes on the back. It just helps keep the everything seated into the IDCs and that wire centered correctly. These do take a little bit of force, so typically I take a screwdriver and you'll have like a little snap there, there. Go to the other side, snap. Okay, that's all the way in. Okay, that's all snapped in, and there you go. Now it's completed. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.